Hello out there, YouTube. What's going on, guys? It is D-Don here, the most chill COD player, with my very noisy daughter in the background. And today, what I'm bringing you guys is an amazing, well, I think it's an amazing gameplay. I pick up 93 kills, non-lethals in this game. So no kill streaks, obviously, just running the UAV, system hack, and kind of let me take a moment to kind of set the stage for you. So at the beginning of the game, I was trying to run the AMR9, and there's a couple guys throughout the entire gameplay that go in on B and they cap it, and then they just sit there and head glitch behind the boxes inside B, like right here, and they just sit there the entire game. And there's one facing each way. They're in a corner behind a box, and they just stare out of the entrances to the B flag. And so with the AMR9, it's really not that good to try and take on, you know, multiple opponents, and especially it's really not that good for picking people off head glitches. So I decided to you know, pick up the Steed and try and do work, try and get these guys off the B flag and try and pull out the win for my team. Ultimately, we didn't get the win, but it makes for some really fast-paced, really entertaining gameplay. And I hope you guys at the very least stick around for the last minute to the last minute, or fast forward to the last minute of the game, because I pick up probably 15 to 20 kills, somewhere in that range, in the span of like a minute, that's pretty insane, really. So yeah, like I said, really fast paced, and hopefully you guys do enjoy it. I thought my heart was going to stop this last minute of the game. It was just constantly like double kills and triple kills, just over and over and over and over and over again. So yeah, I know I've said it like 10 times already, but hopefully you guys enjoy it. But today what I want to talk about is actually, I want to have more of like an intellectual commentary today. I really want to talk about something that's a little bit paradoxical, kind of in the realm of philosophy, and that's choice, and the problem with choice. In today's modern society, you are faced every day with the simplest decisions and having tons and tons and tons of choices to choose from, and that can actually make your life difficult. Now, the example that I'll probably use today is probably an example, something very simple like a frozen pizza, but really these options extend to pretty much anything in your life. So we think that more choices is a convenience factor, and that allows us to make a better decision, but the argument that I'm going to place for you guys today is that it actually does the opposite, and actually leaves you less happy and dissatisfied, and makes the choices, even simple choices, that much harder. So the first thing that can happen whenever you're faced with a lot of different choices is paralysis. And when I say paralysis, we're obviously not talking about a physical paralysis where, you know, you literally can't move. It's more of a mental paralysis. So like I said, I'm probably going to use like a pizza example here, and we're going to our imaginary store to try and pick out a frozen pizza for dinner. So you get to the frozen food section, and you're sitting in the aisle and you're looking, and realistically, at any given, like, you know, Walmart Supercenter or something like that, you could possibly be faced with 50 to 75 different choices of pizza. Now obviously it's not varieties, but whenever you consider the different varieties and each and every brand, and thin crust and thick crust and self-rising and all that stupid crap, ultimately you could have 50 to 75 different choices just to pick out a frozen pizza. So what an example of paralysis in the situation would be where you just sit there and you just can't make up your mind, and so you just sit there, and instead of trying to pick out a frozen pizza, which should take not even 5 minutes, you're left standing there for 10-15 minutes trying to pick out what you would hope is going to be the best, the tastiest frozen pizza that you can get. And a lot of times what can happen is you can also procrastinate to the point where you actually can just give up on a decision. Now obviously that probably doesn't really pertain to a frozen pizza, but say, you know, you're trying to pick out something like a health insurance policy. When you're left with so many different options and carriers, you know, you would just procrastinate because you just don't want to take the time to make the decision, and ultimately you could just end up not buying it for months at a time. And that happens a lot whenever you grow up. You're faced with, you know, a lot of bigger decisions, but you still are given tons of options, and you just don't want to deal with it, and so you end up just not making a decision at all. So the second thing that can happen is once you have made your decision, is that you can actually be left dissatisfied from it just because of the variety of options. So once again, let's kind of go back to the frozen pizza analogy here. Say you choose your pizza and you eat it, and yeah, it was good and you enjoyed it, but when you think about it, you still had 49 to 74 different other choices to choose from, and there's a really good chance that one of those pizzas could have been better than the one you had. So ultimately you're actually left not as happy as you could be when, say, you only had 10 choices to choose from, and you could easily say, well, I know that the pizza I got was going to be way better than those other 9. It's not so easy to do that whenever look at this guy melt me with the KF5 from that range. That's ridiculous. My wife was watching some shows on Netflix, so I don't think my connection was the best here. But anyway, back to choice. So yeah, you can be left dissatisfied even on a simple decision just because you know that there were so many other different options that you could have had that could have been better. And this can also lead to just settling for something just to make the decision. A really good example of this is, well, I guess we can use the pizza analogy for this one. So you're faced with all these different choices. You don't know which pizza to choose. So you're just like, screw it, and you pick one. And once again, that kind of leads back to dissatisfaction. And then, obviously pizza, the pizza example, it's just a really easy example to work with, but it's not really going to impact your life as a whole. But, whenever you're faced with so many different choices for so many different things on a regular basis, every tiny thing that you do can just extrapolate and take even more and more time, and everything you do in your life just kind of adds up. And that's the one thing that we have in life that is probably the most precious to us, is time. And when even very simple decisions can become stressful and take 10 times as long, you're left really with a more dissatisfied life. And by the way, this is the part I was talking about where it gets absolutely insane. But I would really like to know your guys' thoughts. I really hope that I laid out this argument well, and that it kind of made some sense. Obviously, like I said, the example that I used with the frozen pizza is just a very simple example to work with. But just think about it. Like the next time that you are at the store, or you're left with to go out and run errands, and you have to just make some decisions, your life, I mean, it can take 10 times as long as it's supposed to, and ultimately it can actually lead to more dissatisfaction and not hi sweetie, and can just make life very frustrating sometimes. And so really, is choice a good thing? Should things be more simplistic in our modern society? Personally, I think so. I would like to see a little bit more simplicity, but I know it's not going to happen. But you can still strive to try and make your life more simplistic. I'm not saying that you shouldn't care about the choices you make, but sometimes you really just gotta take a step back and just really just decide, just grow some balls and just make a decision and say, this is what I'm going to do, this is what I'm going to stick with. And I feel like that's the best choice. But anyway, that's all I have for you guys today. If you did enjoy the video, leave a like. If you hated and dislike it, leave a comment, let me know what you guys thought. And if you're new, subscribe. See you guys on the next video. Bye.